Welcome to Fully In It, a show for visionaries, leaders, entrepreneurs, and those who know they are called to so much more. Join me, Kate Saffel, a mindset expert, multiple six-figure business coach, and a woman on a quest to show that anything you desire to create in your life is truly possible. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in all areas of your life. Join me for regular inspiration and encouragement to follow your intuition, lead with integrity and heart, and live boldly every damn day. Hey you, welcome back to the podcast. We are finally up and running after months of me needing to be away for family needs, and I will explain a little bit more about that here in a moment. But if you are new here, welcome. I'm so damn glad that you are here. This podcast is basically my love language to my community. It is the way that I just love communicating with all of you, and I hope that you love this episode. You decide to stick around. Now, for those of you who have been with me for a really long time, you know how much I love you and how much I appreciate you. This podcast has gone through several iterations. When I first began it, it started as the Streamlined Motherhood podcast. At that season of my life, I was really coming to terms with my motherhood journey. I was bringing an intentionality to it, acceptance to myself, working through a lot of those emotions that often come up in early motherhood. And I really saw the podcast as a way to support all of you, not only on your motherhood journey, but also in living your values, coming to your life with more intentionality, and really learning some emotional intelligence through mindset tools and other practical hacks that I had discovered on my own inner work journey. And then in 2021, I rebranded the podcast to Happier in Motherhood. And at that time, that felt really right to move in that direction and talk more about what is it like to actually create a life that you love? Like, could we not only just survive motherhood, but is it possible that motherhood could be the catalyst for everything that you desire, for you becoming the woman that you wanted to become, that you saw inside of you? And in this stage of growth, not only were we talking about motherhood, but we were also talking about entrepreneurship, because for me, my business completely took off. My coaching practice completely took off. And I was leaning more into the identity of being an entrepreneur, as well as sharing a lot of the lessons I was learning along the way about growing a successful multiple six-figure business. But what has happened over the last year or so is that I have really begun to support other leaders and other entrepreneurs in growing into their next level, whether that be it in business or personally, or just checking things off of that bucket list of who they saw themselves becoming in this lifetime. And with that shift, I really have gotten deep into entrepreneurism and some of the high-level advanced practices of embodiment and energetics and money mindset and business strategy and all of that. And so as you can imagine, there was a bit of a disconnect between my old platform, Happier in Motherhood, and this new direction I was super excited to move in. I could see how my life was rapidly changing. The choices I was able to make because of my business being the foundation for this life that I'd always desired becoming my reality. And I really wanted to support other women, other humans in doing the same. This past spring, I really began contemplating, what if I rebranded? What if I allowed myself to expand in this new direction? And it was very scary for me. All of my fear came up because I thought, well, you all know me as happier in motherhood. Those of you who've been with me for a while, like, this has been my angle for so long. But what really comforted me in all of this is that it's not that I was giving up on the value of motherhood. It's simply that my love of motherhood was not the only thing in my life anymore, because I had expanded as a woman and my identity was so much more than just who I am as a mom. And so I trusted that so many of you were ready to come along on this journey with me. So at the end of May, my family and I, my husband and I, were going through some pretty hard situations. My husband's father was chronically ill and end of life. And we had to, at the end of May, make a very fast trip to go see him because we didn't think he would have much longer to live. And so all this past spring, I was, business was growing, everything was just amplifying so much. And within a couple of hours, everything kind of turned upside down. We immediately packed and left with the kids in about 45 minutes, and we headed to Asheville, where they live, Asheville, North Carolina, to go be with family. And we were so grateful that because of the business, we could do this. We had this level of freedom. And it was when I was in the hotel room with the kids, and all three of the kids had come down with, I don't know what it was, like the flu or something. And this is the first week of June, 2022. And I was just so fully in it with them. My husband was visiting with his dad and, had to go in the full hazmat, get up, all of that. His dad was in ICU. It was at this point that I just felt in my gut, now is the time to rebrand. Has this ever happened to you where you make a big, big decision in the middle of challenge? For me, this has always been the way that I've grown, is that I'm facing something difficult and it becomes instantly clear where I stand and what I stand for and who I want to be. And that entire week, I had been asking myself every morning, who do I want to be today? How am I going to show up? Because quite frankly, it was incredibly difficult. I didn't want to show up as the best version of myself because I was exhausted. I was out of my element, out of my routine, stuck in a hotel room with little kids. My husband was gone most days. We were actively grieving losing my father-in-law, right? Like anticipating that coming. And yet, every day, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be today? And then it just hit me. I was messaging with my business coach, sitting on the bathroom floor at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh my God, I have to rebrand, because I knew that I wasn't giving the fullest version of me. And I really believe in transparency, authenticity on social media. I also want to take you along on my journey and to keep showing up to an old iteration of me would mean being inauthentic, because I had evolved past happier in motherhood and it was just time. So within a couple of days, oh my gosh, I just went all in. I created a brand new website. I created a new Instagram. What all did I do? I did so many things, and it was just such a passion project. I felt so fueled. I was so sleep deprived. And I launched my new Instagram, I am Kate Saffel. And the feedback I got was so damn empowering, because you all said you could feel my energy. You felt like it was really me. I felt like I could be more of me. I could be more bold and more powerful and more transparent about money and business and everything that comes with it. So that happened in early June. And we were in Asheville about 8 days, and then we went back to Florida for a couple of weeks in the middle of June. And then Kirk's mom called and was like, you need to get here right now. And so we hitched up our travel trailer. We left again. It was the very end of June, and we were just so fortunate to be with family and to be with Kirk's father when he passed away. And it has been one of the most heartbreaking seasons we have faced, for my husband losing his father, for my kids losing their grandfather, and for me losing a man that I really loved and respected. And so we've been wading through this season of grief. And as many of you know, that when you're grieving, it's the weirdest sensation, because as I heard someone describe it to me, it's like you have love, all this love, with no place to put it. You know, my husband can't call up his dad anymore, right? Like, we can't have conversations. It's just, it almost stops, but you don't stop loving the person. You just have no way to really fully express it. And at the same time, we were supporting our kids through something that they had never experienced, which is losing a grandparent. So the summer was a difficult one. And we also were traveling at the same time, moving around to different locations. After about 5 weeks in Asheville, we came north to visit my family in Indiana, and we spent the month of August there kind of regrouping. I threw a 51st anniversary party for my parents because we couldn't do the 50th last year, just with everything going on with the pandemic. And my brothers and I worked together to throw them the most amazing party. And it was just so good for us to get to have that time with family. But all that to say, we came back to Florida at the end of August, and I had in the back of my mind, it's time to rebrand the podcast. It's time to rebrand the podcast. And I just was thinking all summer long, what do I call it? What do I call it? What is going to represent this new direction? And also, I desire to not be limited to just entrepreneurship. I want to have a bigger platform and message than that, and ultimately to support more people. And Kirk and I were talking the other day, and he said, Kate, you're just so fully in it with everything you do. He said, I don't know if you realize your level of commitment to everything you do and to your people and the way you show up every day. And I thought, oh my gosh. And he said, why don't you call the podcast Fully in It? And what I realized is that you, my love, are the same way. That we share this common value of going all in. And it doesn't matter what area of your life. Are you going all in motherhood? Are you going all in your career? Are you fully in it in your marriage, or, in your friendships, or in your business? The thing is that this is a way of being. When you are fully in it, it means that you have closed your back door and you're not looking for the exit, because you are so in love with what you are creating. You're so committed to the vision. Yes, even when it's hard, even when you're grieving, even when life doesn't look like the way that you thought it was going to be, we get to be people who are so damn committed and show up boldly every single day. And this is the version of me I want to be. And I'm guessing this is the version of you that you want to be. And so on this podcast, on this new version of it that we're stepping into, we're going to be having more conversations about what it does look like to hold that level of commitment. How do you overcome the challenges that come forward? What is the mindset like? And how does this practically show up in all the areas of your life? I cannot wait to have these deep conversations with you. And I just want you to know that I am so honored that you are listening to this, that you are part of this story with me and the evolution of not only my business, but really who we are as a community. I've got so many incredible episodes lined up for us, and we are going to finish 2022 strong and absolutely next level up into 2023. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. If you loved this episode, you're going to love coming into my mentoring membership, Expand. This is a year-long community for entrepreneurs and leaders where you're going to have my support in creating your version of a life and business that lights you up. From mindset to practical strategy, you'll have everything at your fingertips to make boldly leaping up to your next level inevitable. I have a special opportunity for you. Share about my new podcast, Fully In It, on your social media and tag me at I am Kate Saffel, and I'll give you a special link for Expand that lets you join for 40% off of full price. Crazy, right? So take a screenshot of your podcast player or even a selfie of you listening, mention the podcast on your social media, and tag me at I am Kate Saffel. That's SAFFLE, and I'll send you the link right away. It is that easy. Thanks again for being here.